Hey there, and welcome back to Reflections with Sue. This is episode 2, and today we will talk about expectations. Not the expectations we have of other people, but the expectations we have of ourselves. The ones we carry every day without even realizing it. The older I become, the more I realize that many of the pressures we feel in life are not actually coming from life itself. They are coming from expectations. At some point, most of us create a picture of how life is supposed to look like. By a certain age, we are supposed to have achieved certain things. A career, a family, financial stability, a home, a car, and success in general. And when life doesn't happen according to that timeline, we start feeling behind. But behind who? And behind what? Seriously, think about it for a moment. Who are we behind? And what are we behind? Huh? Who exactly are we racing? Because most of us never even stop to ask that question. We just keep running. That is the question I've been thinking about lately. Because when you really stop and think about it, many of us are measuring our lives against timelines that we never created for ourselves. Some came from the society, some came from our parents and our families, some came from our communities, some came from watching our friends achieve things before us, some came from social media, and some came from comparing our lives with the lives of other people. Then there are those expectations we created for ourselves. At 20, most of us had a picture of what life would look like at 30. Then we got to 30 and discovered that life had its own plans. One thing life is teaching me is that timelines are often imaginary. Because life rarely follows the script. Very few people end up exactly where they imagined they would be. Some people find success later. Some people change their careers. Some people get married later. Some people never get married. Some people start businesses they never planned to start. Some people become parents. And some don't. Yet, somehow we still compare ourselves to that imaginary schedule. Let me give you an example. So I thought I would be a corporate babe forever, living the dream and investing in real estate. That was the picture. Instead, I now work from home most of the time. And honestly, I spend most of my time looking homeless. Yeah, not what I had in mind. Those who know me know I love heels. But now, with working from home, I don't need to wear shoes. And when I'm working from outside, I no longer wear those heels because I can't do it in heels out there. So I just enjoy my flats. See what I mean? Not what I imagined. Let me give you another one. Look at me now. I have a podcast. Um, if you'd have told me years ago that I'd be sitting here recording a podcast and sharing my reflections on life, I would have probably laughed very hard. Seriously, I would have laughed because this wasn't part of the plan at all. In fact, if you'd had asked the younger version of me what my future would look like, I bet she wouldn't have predicted this. And here is the truth. I was disappointed when that picture changed. I felt like I had failed. The disappointment was real and it hurt. It hurt so bad because I had imagined something different for myself. A corner office, hills every day, me climbing the corporate ladder, and a certain kind of success you could measure. And when that didn't happen, I had to sit with it. What I eventually realized was this. I wasn't disappointed because my life was wrong. I was disappointed because I was still holding on to the picture that no longer fit the person I was becoming. And letting go of that picture took time. It took time. On the other side of that disappointment, I found something better. Not the life I planned, but a life I love. A life I love because it allows me to be present for my child. Looking back, the detour was worth it because it simply unfolded the way it was supposed to. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for that corporate life. Our expectations become heavy when they stop guiding us and they start judging us. Because then every delay feels like failure. Every detour feels like failure. Every change of direction feels like failure. And yet, sometimes those detours are exactly where we are supposed to be. Sometimes, the life we end up living teaches us things that the life we planned never could. And that is the beauty about life. I think one of the biggest pressures adults carry is a feeling that they should be further ahead. Further ahead professionally, further ahead academically, further ahead financially, further ahead personally, or even further ahead than their friends. But you know what? When you look around, you will realize that people are not falling behind. People are just living different stories, different timelines, different journeys, different challenges, and different opportunities. So, what if instead of us asking, am I where I should be? We started asking, am I growing? Because growth is different from achievement. And growth doesn't always look impressive. No. Sometimes growth is healing. Sometimes growth is learning patience. Sometimes growth is becoming kinder. Sometimes growth is changing your mind. Sometimes growth is simply getting through a difficult season. And sometimes growth is accepting that your life doesn't look the way you thought it would and being okay with that. This one took me the longest to learn. Accepting that the picture had changed. Accepting that the timeline had shifted. And accepting that I'm not behind. I'm just on a different path. And different isn't less. It's just different. I'll leave you with this thought for today. Maybe the goal isn't to live life according to someone else's timeline. Maybe the goal is to live your own life fully and with authenticity. At your pace, in your season, and on your path. Because this life is not a race. It is an experience. And experiences are never meant to be identical. Maybe we are not behind. Maybe we are just living different stories. Notice more. Reflect more. Stay curious. Thank you for listening. I'm Sue, and this is Reflections with Sue. See you in the next one.